The Democratic primary process is finally underway. It's been a long time coming, man, ever since that 2016 presidential election. It left a bitter taste in my mouth. But finally, the progressive movement has a second chance, a second opportunity to get somebody who stands for progressive ideals in office and really see all the platform that we fought so hard to get into the national conversation, truly see that platform be realized on the national level, on the state level, and even on the local level. So this primary process is shaping up to be hectic. There's 24 candidates, ranging from the centrist side all the way down to the true progressive line side. So many candidates. Bernie Sanders, of course, Joe Biden, of course, all kind of the two top candidates at the top of the race. But then you have Elizabeth Warren, you have Pete Buttigieg, some mayor. I don't know why the fuck he's in the race. Then you have Cory Booker, also known why the hell he's in the race. Then you have Kamala Harris, you have Beto O'Rourke, you have Kristen Gillibrand, you have Tulsi Gabbard. So a variety of choices to choose from. And a lot of the candidates kind of support the similar things, but I think they're trying to get leverage based on the fact that, oh, I'm black, or oh, I'm Latino, or oh, I'm young and white, you know. So I think that's kind of where they're trying to, get leverage, get an advantage. But for Bernie, I think, and this is part of why I support him so much, his leverage comes from consistency. His leverage comes from the policy. His advantage is the fact that for 50 plus years, he has supported the progressive cause and has been there through the thick and the thin before anybody took this side seriously. Before anybody thought Medicare for all was a legitimate option, before anybody thought that tuition-free college was a legitimate option, before anybody thought that raising taxes on the rich and ending this era of corporatocracy was a legitimate option. Before that was true and politically expedient, Bernie was there. And I think that's the key difference. That's why I will always support Bernie Sanders as long as he's in this race. And that's why I believe that he's the only option, the only legitimate option for this 2020 presidential election. So now I've kind of talked about why I support Bernie. I want to again reiterate the state of the race and the way things are looking. So I'm gonna be straight with you, dog. It's not looking amazing right now for Bernie. Yeah, these poll numbers are not looking spectacular, but it's workable. The gap is not significant enough to where I'm like, all right, Bernie, chill out. It's a year out also from the convention, so there's still plenty of time to get this margin down. Anything can happen between now and then. So honestly, while it's not perfect, I'm not gonna say this is looking terrible. It's honestly, it's about what you'd expect. It's workable, and I still believe that he has a legitimate shot at winning the nomination. So I'm gonna get into these numbers real quick. So I went to realclearpolitics.com, and I saw like their kind of average poll numbers for the last, so from May 10th to May 20th. So I looked at those average poll numbers, and I'm going to go ahead and read those off to you right now. So Joe Biden is standing at 34.7%. Clearly at the top of the race right now. He announced that his presidency, his presidential run, let's say like a month or two ago, and since then he's seen a really significant jump in the polls. That's starting to level out now, so that's definitely good news for Bernie. Bernie is of course following Joe Biden at 17.7%, so that's a 17-point gap on average, and those are the most recent numbers. And then Elizabeth Warren follows at 9.8% of the vote. Kamala Harris follows at 8%. Pete Buttigieg, again, irrelevant bum, stands at 6.2%. Beto O'Rourke, another irrelevant bum, stands at 3.7%. And then my man Cory Booker. I can't stand that motherfucker. I can't stand that dude. He is the Pillsbury Doughboy himself, man. I can't stand that dude. Anyway, 2% for Cory Booker. Can't wait till he leaves. So that's the state of the election right now. Again, it's workable. It's workable. But there's going to be a lot of key factors that weigh into, can Bernie really pull this off? Can he really overcome this gap, win the Democratic nomination? And I'm confident if he win the nomination, he would clean Trump's clock in general. There's a lot of factors that weigh into it. Um, Overall, I believe that Bernie Sanders is the truth. I've reiterated that. You can go back to past videos, and it remains true for me and the reasons why I support Bernie Sanders. He's consistently supported progressive policy. He has been a progressive line for 50 plus years. He supported the same issues for 50 plus years. It's what the country needs in order to move forward and transition away from this era of corporatocracy. I've reiterated that, and you can go back to past videos to really understand that more in depth. Um, but I think for Bernie to pull this off, he's got to get past all the barriers that the corporate media and the corporate establishment has set up for him, right? Because Bernie, ever since the jump, has identified himself as a democratic socialist. Um, and that socialist term, I think, is going to end up biting him in the ass. And that's a problem. That's a problem. America, I don't know, is fully ready to elect somebody who identifies as a socialist. But here's the kicker: he's not really a socialist. On the issues, he's not a socialist. It's not like he wants the elimination of the capitalist system, right? Bernie is really a social democrat. He's a democratic socialist. That's how he self-identifies, but he's really a social democrat. He kind of supports a blend of the capitalist and socialist systems where you still have the bare bearings of a capitalist system, but you have intense amounts of regulation and taxation. And that's just kind of the socialist aspects. And that system is kind of a mixed economy that combines, and I believe would be the best viable option for America moving forward, where we have prosperity for the maximum number of Americans. And if he is able to convey that to the American public, if he's able to say, listen, it's not socialism, it's progressivism, it's social democracy, it's a welfare state, it's what we need in order to survive as a country. If he's able to convey that message of Medicare for all, tuition-free college, infrastructure spending, higher taxes on the rich and corporations, Wall Street transaction tax, aggressive, immediate climate change action, if he's able to convey that platform to the American public, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. And it's going to take getting past that immediate media barrier where, they've put out these kind of dog tags on Bernie. I don't know another term to describe it. Just kind of like these negative terms on him, where you're a socialist, and people immediately associate that with, oh, communism, Soviet Union, oppression, authoritarianism, and that is nowhere near what this man supports. Nowhere near. But people get that idea in their head because the media has tried to perpetrate this narrative for so long. They've been pumping it out nonstop. And even if that isn't what bites him, it's always, oh, well, he's a millionaire, right? So how do you support the elimination of millionaires and billionaires? Not what he supports. How do you support a socialist agenda? Not what he supports. But you're also a millionaire. So they keep throwing that out there. So it's just this cycle of misinformation about Bernie Sanders, and it's going to take overcoming that if he's able to win the nomination and ultimately clean Trump's clock in the presidency. So that's always going to be a factor. So I think what Bernie needs to do moving forward is just keep pushing on the policy. Keep doing what you're doing. But also point out the fact that, and I think it's going to be clear in the debates, Joe Biden supports nothing. He supports nothing. He has no concrete policy positions. He's somewhat evolved since the days of Obama, where he's been forced to adapt and say, well, I support that healthcare is a right, but I want to expand and build upon the Affordable Care Act. Something that's pretty damn unpopular. Where you're like, oh, well, back in the 90s I supported criminal justice reform, and that was a mistake, but, no real policy positions. What he's really running on is Trump. I'm the anti-Trump. That's what he is. I'm the anti-Trump. I will be the candidate that defeats Trump. I'm going to wield my anti-Trump sword, and I'm going to swing it all around, and I will destroy Trump, and it will all be golly and glee in the land of America. Right? That's what he supports. That's what he's trying to run on. And it's so ridiculous. Because, get this, that's what Hillary ran on. That's what Hillary ran on. And I don't know why. I just don't understand why he genuinely believes this is going to win him the presidency. People are done with the facade. This is what like these corporate Democrats, they don't understand this. People are done with the facade. They're done with the games. They're done with the fantasy of American politics. They understand now that the system is rigged. It has been rigged. There is no unity. There is no togetherness. There is no reaching out to the other side. Because guess what? There is no side to reach out to. They are all sold out to the corporate establishment. It's proven. Look at the records. Look at the billions of dollars pumping into these companies. Billions of dollars flowing from these companies to these politicians, flowing into their pockets, lining their pockets, all this big oil money, this big pharma money, big Wall Street money, you name it. You name the industry, they are pumping money into the hands of these politicians. Right? That's just the reality. This is a corrupt system. This is not a pure democracy. Princeton University said it itself a few years ago. This is an oligarchy. The opinions of the rich are overwhelmingly supported over the opinions of the vast majority of the American public. That's just facts. People are waking up to that. So you can't pull a leg over on them anymore, Joe. That's not going to work. They're sick of it. They're sick of the lies. They're sick of the corruption. They're sick of trying to reach out, get unity. There needs to be a serious overhaul of the system. And that's going to have to come in the form of true progressive policy. So that's just the reality of the race. And I feel like Bernie has a legitimate shot at this nomination. And once he gets that, the presidency, as long as he continues doing what he's doing, pumping out policy, truly showing that you are the progressive candidate, that you have been the progressive candidate since the 1960s, that you are the most genuine and authentic candidate on that stage. And really pointing out the distinction between a guy like Joe and a guy like Bernie, a person who supports nothing and a person who has supported true progressive policy for as long as most of y'all have been alive. If you can point out that distinction, you will get votes. You will galvanize young people like me. You will galvanize low-income communities across the nation. You will galvanize those people who supported Trump because they thought they would bring manufacturing jobs back to America. People who thought he would finally give me a fair shake because he's outside of the system. You will galvanize those people, get them to vote for you, and you will truly see the progressive vision realized in America. So it's going to take drawing the distinction, and only time will tell. Only time will tell. I have faith that if Bernie's running this ship, if Bernie is saying what he wants to say, if Bernie is truly running this campaign, I feel like he'll win. I honestly feel like he has a legitimate shot at winning. But we have to make sure that he remains pure, that campaign remains pure, that nobody's feeding him misinformation or the wrong strategy. So that's my hope. That's my hope, and I think that Bernie, if he runs it the way he wants to run it, he can win. And that would be a beautiful thing for this country, man. So that's the state of the 2020 Democratic primaries, and also a bit of the reason why I support Bernie Sanders. And I'm going to reiterate that in further videos. If you want to look back, you can look back at the same case from last time. So until next time, it's been your boy. Finally on summer break, so I'm going to be pumping out more videos about politics. There's been a lot going on. I'm going to try to give my take on some of the more recent events going on in this really hectic political climate.